Namaste. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Saturday. Is it Saturday? It's Saturday. It's been a long day. It's a long day. I feel like it's been 3 days in one. I feel like this is the start of the third day in one. That's why I'm over here like, what day is it? I'm sorry. Wait, what's going on? Uh, I don't know. I feel like I need the camera to warm up. I feel like the energy needs to warm up. I be feeling a certain way before I get on camera, and then the camera gets on, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're tapped in, too done, turned done. You know what I mean? Um, so welcome. If you made it here, I'm so excited for you guys to be here. Let me just tell you, if you made it here, welcome, 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 welcome. This is Embodied Spirituality. My name is Ashante Marie. This is where Spirit has a message for you, me, and thee. Okay. And we're about to get started. Usually I jump in and let you guys know my disclaimers for the day because, or at least the disclaimers that I can gauge for the day before I get into the message, just in case, people are sensitive and this is not the right day to listen to this message. You can always come back to this, or, maybe this isn't for you, but maybe it is. And it's just not the right time. And that's okay too. Whatever it is, whatever it is, whatever it is. Welcome, and here's my disclaimers. I cuss a little bit. I try and keep it cute, but today may have a little bit more, just because I feel like we have to have a level of protective energy, a little um, protective energy. So I don't think it's going to be too much personally, but it's definitely going to be there. Some other sensitive topics that we may talk about today. Not may. We'll talk about today. We will talk about today. Um, if you, we're going to talk about mental illness. We're going to talk about bullying. We're going to talk, briefly mention different other traumas, potential sexual traumas, um, potential suicidal thoughts, or ideation. And if any of those words, any of those words um, made any part of you jump, get a little scared, feel a little bit too triggered to listen to, figure a little, I'm not ready for this right now. Like if any of that, or oh, I'm too sensitive, or oh, what are you, what? Like if any of that triggered you, like please do not watch this video. You know, I will encourage you though, if any of those words stuck out to you in any capacity, even if you don't feel like you're triggered and you need to run away from this video, but maybe that you had any of these thoughts or feelings or emotions or, whatever, need to process any of these things, right? I implore you to reach out to a professional. Um, and I know that that sounds crazy. I don't even want to make it sound like that. Reach out to a professional because then it makes you feel crazy when you may feel like you don't want to feel crazy, but you feel like there's crazy shit going on. So just reach out is what I want to say to you guys. Reach out to somebody that you care for, that cares for you, that that loves you in a real way, and ask them to help you. And they may not know what to do, and they may look like a deer in headlights when they're helping you, but best believe, as long as you let them know that there's something going on with you, and as long as they care about you the way that they care about you, they're going to be there and they're going to help and they're going to do as best as they can. You know what I mean? So reach out for help. Reach out for help. And if you don't feel like you have anybody, you know, reach out to me and I'm going to try and do my best. Okay. And this is the first time I have made this offer to anybody ever live, especially like this. But I will say that I will do what I can from where I stand right now. I don't have that many resources, so I wouldn't say to reach out to me. I'm, you know what I mean. But um, if you are somebody that does help people that go through these things, if you are a mental health professional, because I can only help people in a certain capacity. I think there are certain things that may be beyond my realm. So depending on what it is, you can. reach out to me. But if you are somebody else that deals with people who are in this realm, please, 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 please drop your information down below. Or just say, hey, I'm here to help. Hey, I'm a professional. Hey, reach out to me. You know, because in this space, God got you. And in all spaces, God got you. In real life, God got you. But I want you to know, especially that in this space, when you're in this part of the universe, when you're around me, when you're connected to this tribe, God got you all day and always. Okay. Um, so that was that. Is there anything else that I need to say before I jump into the topic of the day? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that ended up being a real yawn. I think we're ready to jump in. 5 on the clock. I think we're ready to jump in. So I wasn't necessarily planning to make this video at all. Actually, I wasn't planning to make this video at all today. I got highly inspired by the divine to come up on here, come up in this space, into my space of the universe, and to just talk and maybe process out loud, but also to just like talk and maybe like something is gonna help y'all. Because I know that even just thinking about this stuff out loud, processing this stuff out loud for me is gonna help me. And I know that God speaks through me, so that's also gonna help me. Um, and so I hope that one or many of things help you. Just saying, just saying, just saying. So this video came up because like one, there was this energy of like earlier in the week, there was this energy of like, I was reminded of coddling parents. Okay. And I was just like, ugh, it bothers me. Like as somebody who coaches kids, you know, and I'm sure anybody that works with kids and like anybody that works with kids, I think coddling parents definitely stick out and you know who they are. Right. And like in some capacities, you're like, cool. At least for me, I try not to be super judgmental personally. Okay. Um, so I'm like, okay, you know, maybe it's a moment, you know, maybe it's a moment. Or maybe this is just how they are a little bit here and there, you know what I mean? And then you start to be like, this is like a thing? Oh, it's not gonna go well. It's not gonna go well. Coddling parents, I don't think ever really go well. Helicopter parents doesn't really go well. Like maybe is coddling and helicopter the same? I feel like helicopter can be a little bit different. I feel like it can manifest a little bit differently versus coddling. 100%. 100%. Okay. I think they maybe have some overlap, but there's definitely some differences there. Anyways, so that energy was already coming up earlier this week, right? Because I had a student and the parent that doesn't usually bring them brought them. And there was a moment where I stepped off of the ice with the skater and it was just my practice in terms of getting them ready for like, okay, this is the test. We'll normally get off of the ice. I'll have a prep talk with you, and then you get back on the ice and take the test, right? It's like just my normal get them mentally prepared for what they're about to go through. And so because he doesn't show up, excuse me, but like because he's not the parent that brings him to their kid to the rink often, so he doesn't really know like the protocols or what to do and all that stuff. Like he was just at the vending machines while I'm talking to her, and she's of course fine. She doesn't look upset. She's just like listening because I'm just like giving her instructions. And right there at that moment specifically, right? Because there's been other times where I like where I would as a you know, as a parent, from a parent's perspective, would be like, "Oh, are you okay?" But like that wasn't that moment. That wasn't that moment. Like she was just like, "Uh huh, uh huh." Like that was the kid. So I'm just like, the parent comes over after he takes his time. Like you're not in a rush to freaking check on this kid, right? Like you see her, you get the food, you take your time, and then all of a sudden, because now that you've taken your time to get the snack and we're still talking, right? Almost done, like wrapping up in 15 seconds, you want to come over there and be like, "Are you okay?" She's fine. Girl. So that day, it took a lot of patience within my spirit, to kind of just keep focusing on the way that I was focusing because I don't deal with him. And like, if I have to deal with more, I don't, I know how to be professional enough to let people know what the boundaries are normally are when it comes to skating and coaching. Um, so in that space, I was just like, I'm going to leave that alone. But it was like, I was just like, ugh. Because also too, it like diminishes what I'm doing. It also diminishes not in what I'm doing in like an egoic way, because that's not an issue for me. But more so diminishing what I'm doing in terms of like preparing her. So now when I'm trying to get her to have a moment to herself, to have a moment without outside distractions, before she has to lock into competitive mode, you coming in as an outside distraction. Bruh, I was so irritated on the inside. So, anyways, that thought got me to thinking about like dealing with a parent from one of my longtime students from some time ago. And I knew for years, I worked with that student for years, and I knew for years, I was like, this coddling is going to be an issue. Because it would be like that. It would be like, okay, we're in a test session, like an actual, not a practice run through test session, like an actual test session. And she gets off of the ice after the warm up. And like, it's only supposed to be coach and skater time, because this is what we do. This is what we're here for. This is what we're here for. This is coach and skater time. Lock in. And usually I try to even take myself out of the equation. I give them a couple of notes and I tell them, go over there by yourself, face a wall if you need to, close your eyes and visualize. Like, go over there and visualize. Like, don't even think about me. Don't think about all the words that I have to say, because my words can be distracting you right now. Saying all the things because I want to get all of this shit out of my head. As a coach, I want to tell you everything. I want to tell you everything. But also as a coach, I'm trying to be mindful of what I'm telling you. Make sure you get the information that you need, because you can only process so much. And there's only so much that you can do in the last 10 seconds, the last 30 seconds before you get on the ice. Like, you did the practice beforehand. All those other practices before is what you did. So there's only so much I can do in that moment. So right then, in those spaces, I'm really like, you as a skater, lock into your own skating. Because I'm not there every single time that you practice. Maybe I am a lot of the times in these times. But like, not every single time. You're also on a team. I'm not there when you're on that team. Like, so you have your own skating. You know what your skating is. You know what you're capable of. You know how strong you are. You know how well you're growing. And even though they may be kids, they have some level of understanding of what be going on. Most people just don't give them enough credit, which is why coddling is also an issue. But it was an actual test session, and like, it's in the moment where I'm like, okay, you need to go and have a moment and like to yourself, here's my couple of notes, blah blah blah. The parent comes over and it's just like, I promise you, kiss this kid like 15 to 20 times. And I was just like, how is this helping a competitor become a competitor? Like, sometimes one be too much. Like, even for me, even when I was a kid, I'm like, one is too much. I mean, like, I gotta focus. You know what I mean? I gotta focus. So 20 kisses, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And what are you doing it for? You know? So that came up this week for me. And so, fast forwarding to the parent that I dealt with earlier in the week, or the parent that I normally don't deal with earlier in the week, but was there this week. I dealt with the one that I normally dealt with today. And, we had a moment of talking about that. And she kind of mentioned just the fact, she was like, I don't know if it's like the Asian in me, like the tiger mom, like the Asian. And I'm like, no, I think it can be like a brown person thing, because I don't believe in that neither. My mom didn't necessarily believe in that. My sister don't believe in that when raising her son. I don't believe in it in building a competitor of any sorts. Like positive reinforcement, for sure, in ways, right? Positive psychology is like a real thing. But coddling is a whole nother subject area. That's a whole nother matter. Um, so that got brought up, and it made me think about just like, and so also disclaimer, race. Obviously, you see what color I am. I'm brown. Okay. Um, if you have a problem with that, why are you here? Okay. If you have a problem about me talking about me being that, or my affiliations with the people that are also be that, like, also, why are you here? Like, don't be a hater. And it's not like I don't like other people who don't consider themselves colored. I do. You guys are also my friends. Let's be clear. You guys have always been my friends. And mind you, look, some of y'all niggas my ancestors. I was thinking about that earlier in this week. Like, people aren't dealing with their ancestors like that and not realizing that they have ancestors that were on the opposite ends of the spectrum. I know that I have a right great grandfather, great baby extra somewhere up in there, which means he had a whole lineage of other white people before him, and them is my people too. Okay, like that's just what it is. Like that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So I'm not being a hater. I'm just saying that you have different life experiences or cultural experiences um, that match sometimes. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. I was trying to be nice about it, but I only care as much as what I just said. Thank you. If you know who I am, you know my spirit, okay? Anyways, so she was like, I don't know if it's the brown in me. And I was just like, or she said, I don't know if it's like the Asian. And I was like, it's the brown thing too, because I'm the same way. And I was like, also too, when I think about that situation of the person that I dealt with before, like the kid was brown, but the mom wasn't, you know what I mean? And so, and I was like, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of that. Maybe it's a little bit of that. And not, and it's no shade to them. I just think that brown parents, because, and especially women, because we grew up in the world that we live in, we've had to develop a level of tough skin and resilience. So we're not necessarily afraid of like also teaching that tough skin and resilience to our kids, because we know that they're going to need it sooner rather than later. I feel like we all need a collective deep breath right there. Deep breath in, deep breath out. One more. Deep breath in, deep breath out. No, because that's just the reality of the matter. And I was thinking about that when it came to Black girls or African American or people were, that's a part of the African diaspora. Like, because we develop younger, because we can look more womanly a lot younger, we tend to often times get treated similarly too, you know, or crossed, I would say, cross similarly too, and that isn't always a good thing when somebody is also preying on the innocence of that child. So building a brown kid to have a level of resilience is necessary. Okay, no matter if it's a female or a male. Okay, let's be clear. But like, y'all hear what I'm saying? Oh my God. First of all, we didn't know we was dropping in like this. So 2022 on the clock. I didn't know I was dropping in like this. We knew we was gonna have a deep conversation because I said, look, buckle up. We're gonna be here for a second. Oh, by the way, if I didn't tell y'all, go grab yourself a little snack. You got a little snack, you got a drink or something, you got some water, you got some tea. What you need? You need something? Go ahead. Don't feel no type of way. You can go ahead, just put me on pause for 2 seconds. I'll be right here. I'll be right here. You can put me on pause for 2 seconds. Like if y'all need a drink. You know what this felt like? Dang, that low key feels like that. That movie. What did Swarm? I swear I keep saying that name wrong. Ah, oh, damn it. I keep saying the name of that movie wrong. I know it's not that. What is this movie called? Look, while y'all going to go get y'all coffee or whatever, y'all can just play this. I'll be in the background. Um, oh, there you go. Straw, girl. I know it's not. You know why I think Swarm every time when I think about that movie is because I think about the image of all of those people coming down. So I'm like, Swarm. But it's called Straw, like the last straw. Straw. Okay? Straw, like the last straw. And like, if you watch that movie, I just encourage y'all to watch that movie, okay? And especially we're talking about growing up like Black in America or dealing with, all of that, and not to say that it's only Black people that go through this. Let's be clear. I know other people go through this, but this is just like what it is for right now in this space. So in the first 20 minutes of the movie, you be like, pause. Pause. Everybody said first 20 minutes, you be like, hold. I gotta pause the movie. I gotta go get me a drink. I gotta get me some water. I gotta get something to ground me. Like I gotta. It's like whatever you need to make yourself, because it's not like you're over triggered to where you can't watch it. It's like just triggered just enough for you to be like, oh shit. Hold on. Let me catch my breath. Hold on. Like, hold on. I didn't know we was doing that like that today. Hold on. I didn't know we was dropping in. I didn't know we was doing some deep dive, deep healing, right? But I did write in the description box something about awakening or awakening season, right? Because this is that. We're in September. We're about to be at September 22nd, which means we're at the fall equinox, which means we're at these initiation. The veil is thinning sort of period. That means a lot of people are going through some little or big or major awakenings simultaneously. Some of the things that like the shininess of the summer and the spring, start to like fade away, and you got to start seeing things for what they really are, or there's stuff in you that needs to be healed that comes to the surface, and it's just like, here we are you ready to deal with this yet? And like, this is that moment. So like, sometimes this is the warning. I don't mean to laugh, it's just so funny. It's so funny. This is just the warning of like, okay, be ready, buckle up your seatbelt. Like, if you need a little water to go with what you doing. Don't be worried. I got my sunflower seeds. Like, look, I'm trying to be over here so I can do this video. I'm like an ice cruncher. It's crazy. Anyways, So all of this talking about these Kylan parents or whatever, right? So I was just like, okay, I didn't think that was like a video that I wanted to write anything about. I just knew it was like a topic that needed to like have a little bit more developing. Then I come home today, and after like whatever my day so far, I was like, okay, I just want to like lay down and kind of like watch something and like just like turn off for a second because everything has been like heightened earlier today. So I was just like, let me just. So I'm like, I go to Netflix. I put on this movie or this like documentary or investigative special of it's called something about a high school catfish or something like that. And if you come across it and you watch it or whatever, if you watched it or whatever, like you know what I'm talking about. Um, I may be a little bit of a spoiler to the show because like not everybody's gonna want to watch this movie. To be honest with you, I just be curious as a psychologist. Sometimes I just be curious about random stuff, so I just be trying to figure some shit out. um, and so mind you, how I want to. Okay, I'm gonna back up, right? So we started talking about the Netflix special. I'm gonna back up a little bit. No, we're gonna drop into the Netflix special. That's how we're setting this up. Cool. Watching the show, whatever, and it's like this girl and this boy when they was in high school started to date. They started to date when they were like, preteens, 12, 13 years old. You know what I mean? Doing like, basic small town. And it is a super small town. Ain't nobody, they ain't got nothing to do there. I guess that was the messaging. And so like everybody knows everybody type of town, right? So they grow up, go to football games, they both do sports, whatever, they support each other, whatever, right? Kids, right? And all of a sudden, so they had been together for like 2 years or something like that. So from like 12 to 14 or 13 to 15 or something like that. The girl starts to receive messages, right? Messages like, your boyfriend is going to leave you. He doesn't want to be with you anymore. He wants me. And I'm like, what? This is some crazy stuff, right? And mind you, like I said, this is about to be spoiler alert. If you want to watch the movie, go watch the movie and then come back to this video. But spoiler alert, we're going to talk about it today. But I'm gonna try and draw it out a little bit, give you a little bit of the movie dynamic. So, yeah, like the first bit, I'm like, okay, so she's getting these crazy messages. This girl, the guy wants to leave you, and like, if you don't go to the party, it's fine if you don't go to the party. He's gonna come to the party and be with me, and I'm DTF. Like that was in the first messages. Excuse me, and I'm DTF. So that's what we're gonna be doing. Like, but excuse me, girl, go. And so the girl didn't end up going to the party, or the time had passed or whatever. They kind of like skipped over. Like things had calmed down. They wasn't getting too many messages, but maybe there was like a couple here or there or something like that. I don't know. But they like super calmed down after that. A whole like almost a whole year passed, 11 months passed. And then this girl gets more messages. Mind you, they start messaging the guy too, right? And not saying anything bad about the girl, but just more so like, we're gonna get your girlfriend, or like, I don't know, some other stuff. Maybe you do have to watch it because it was some crazy ish. Okay. And so I'm like, this is crazy. I said, what? This is a crazy show. So a year later, they start getting messages again or whatever. And the girls, it starts to get like crazy, like extra sexual around the guy. Like, I'm about to do this to the guy. He's going to do this to me. And then starts to get super like abusive towards the girl. Like, go and X yourself. And no, what? No. Um, and like talking about her like being like skinny or flat or whatever, and like potentially having an eating disorder or looking like somebody who has an eating disorder. Um, so like just straight up like bullying stuff, right? But then also sending messages to the boyfriend, right? And so like they're all going through their turmoil, right? And so this goes on for months to where now like so now then the parents get involved because I said, who's doing what? Well, here. This is why you gotta listen to context clues. This is why you gotta listen to context clues. Because in one of the first scenes, they show, or early in the thing, because they showing all these different people, like other different high schoolers or whatever, parents or whatever. And you still trying to figure out who everybody is. But then they show the mom at a certain point, and they showed her a couple of times already before. So you kind of think that she's one of the moms, but you don't know which mom she is. But she's the mom to the girl, and she was like, well, no. First they had the girl on there, and the girl was like I finally showed my mom, and my mom just told me to like ignore it and like leave it alone. They'll stop messing with you or something like that. And like then they went to a clip of the mom, and the mom was like, yeah, when she told me, I just figured it would stop, and I told her to just ignore it. So I even right there, even right even right there in the show, I said pause. Pause. Why? 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 And I try not to be judgmental, God. I swear. So this is also me. Like God, you know my heart. You know my heart. You know that I'm not talking about just like physical appearance. You know I'm talking about spiritual, like makeup and appearance and how they move. You know that's what I'm talking about. So I'm not really just trying to get at the physical aspect, because one thing can help make another. You know me. You know my spirit. Okay. So this lady, I said pause. You know why? Because when I saw the mom's face and I said, "Oh, you the mom of the girl?" and the mom told you to not worry about it, my first instinct was like, Psh, that's what, because the girl, the young, like the teenager, she's pretty. Like you could tell, like she's pretty. She's not like, take your breath away, but she can be. She can be take your breath away type of pretty. Like so she's cute, right? Cute girl. And so you see the mom, and the mom is not okay. And like I said, that's the advice your mom gave you. I said, pause. You know why? You know why? I'm acting crazy with it today. Because she's not a part of the club. So this is what we get into the second. What else is in the description box? The Pretty People Club, right? Right? There's a Pretty People Club, and it's not really a Pretty People Club. It's more like a Pretty People support group. Okay. And so this is in lieu. Who else was on my mind earlier this week? Thank you. 3443. Thank you, cousin. Who was on my mind this week is my cousin, Luta. Okay, love him. Um, and speaking of, that's so funny. God, you're so funny. Spirit, Jesus, and Buddha, y'all all so funny. Um, anyways, his name is Buddha, but I also make some body butter that I've been using for 1,000 years. I don't know. And it's called embodied butter, just like this is embodied spirituality. It's called embodied. How do you do this? I gotta get better at this camera thing. Y'all can see this, right? Maybe I should go like this in front of my face. But I just feel like I can't hold it right. Hold on, we got it. We got it. We're getting there. And see. Anyways, this is my body butter, and it's called embodied butter. Okay, it's kind of like embodied Buddha. So that's my thing. You can buy that. Reach out to me. You know what I mean? But he's been on my mind a lot this week. Extra. Been on my mind a lot these last couple of weeks, but he's just been a little bit extra tappy this week. And he used to always say, bruh, bro, we need a pretty people club. He was like, I promise you, I need to create a pretty people club. It's a pretty people support group. It's a support group for pretty people. It's a support group for pretty people. And I'd be like, after after some time of like considering it too, like even before he passed away, I was like, nah, that's a real thing. We low-key need that. Like that's really a thing. Like that's really a thing. He's like, I promise you it's a thing. I promise you it's a thing. But before back then, I didn't necessarily think that I was part of that club. Then I realized I was a part of that club. And then I said, oh snap. Oh snap. We really do need a support group, right? So it goes into that a little bit. In terms of like, she wasn't a part of that club, that mama. You know what I mean? And I said, no wonder why she didn't give you the best advice. No wonder why she said, just ignore it. Because she's not a part of that club. Otherwise, because here's the thing, it was more so like if she was a part of that club, if you have been through the experience of like, okay, at some point somebody was jealous of me because of my looks, or what I have, or what they think, like then you would start to understand how to deal with those people where it's just like, whatever. Like it's like you gotta have some resilience. You gotta learn how to deal with people. That's why you have to have some resilience. Anyways. And so I was like, no wonder why this mama didn't give her the best advice. I said, she's not a part of the club. She's not a part of the club. Ugh. And no tea, no shade, because here's my thing. To me, I'm like, it's not just about physical appearance, because there's definitely some people who are not like the prettiest people in the world, or who have like the aesthetic, whatever genetic or whatever prettiness that society likes to praise and reward. But maybe they like are really good people and they do really great things in the community or whatever. They like whatever. To me, I feel like that shows up on your spirit. And when things like that show up on your spirit, you may not have, your teeth may not all the way be in place. Okay? You may have one eyebrow that's shorter than the other. Or I don't know. Like your hairline may be somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like it could be something. Who knows what it is? Who knows what it is? But like, you could be pretty still. You could still be a part of the Pretty People Club. And here's how you know. Here's proof. Here's proof as to how people who don't be that pretty could be a part of the Pretty People Club. Have you checked models? There are some models who be having them teeth that where you be like, ooh, they would get made fun of. If they was in my school, they did get made fun of. How about that? They did get made fun of. And guess what? They laughing all the way to the bank. Now niggas like they laughing all the way to the bank. They did get made fun of. You know what I mean? So it's not like being a part of the Pretty People Club means that you were just like pretty forever. Like it means that like you really do have a pretty spirit. And because people be having non-pretty spirits, ugly ass spirits, they want to be trying to get on people who don't be having ugly spirits. Like, it's really crazy. And it's interesting how we talked about like people preying on the innocent at the beginning of this. That's the same shit. Anyways, y'all hear me in the back? Okay. So, anyways, fast forward, they take you through this rigmarole of the show, right? Then at a certain point, they blame like this one girl, and you're like, it could be her or whatever, you know. But she looked like she's still a part of the PPC, so you know, I don't know. It could be her, but maybe not, you know. And then they threw up this other person, and I was like, oh, she could have did it because she's not a part of the PPC now, Jesus. And how they were setting it up, making her sound like she was like hella jelly or whatever. I was like, ooh, she could have done it. But it wasn't her. And I felt bad for her because when she started to talk, she was like, I never harmed anybody. Like, and I just felt bad because, you know, sometimes to me, and so here's the thing, right? Because they showed a picture of her when she was younger. And I was just like, you know. But I also feel like there's like, if you literally, bro, if you work with kids, if you be around kids long enough, you know that there are some people that go through an ugly stage in their childhood. They can be like cute at 4, 5, 6, and then like there's something between 7 and 10, you know, 8 and 10 and 11, that they start to look a little crazy. Start to look a little crazy. You'd be like, Lord Jesus, who we hope, pray, and God, you know? And then all of a sudden, like they start to get into their teen a little bit more. They start to get into whatever like they're actually into, or their, you know, friends or their personalities a little bit more. And then you're like, oh, I see you. You doing that. You know what I mean? So there was a picture of this girl, right? And she could have just been in that stage, in that like, and you could tell that she was kind of in that stage for sure. She was kind of in that stage for sure, but you didn't know how much you could come out. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So then they show a clip of her being older, and she's like, to me, I felt like she developed more into her features. And her spirit was shining through because she still looked like she wasn't fully a part of the PPC yet, because I think she was still, you know, she was still young. I feel like once she probably gets a little bit older, maybe gets into her profession or something like that, like she may be about that life. But she really upgraded. You know, by the time we seen her, she upgraded. So I'm like, I just felt bad that she was being blamed, you know? So, anyways, fast forward. It wasn't her. And then, mind you, this goes into big investigations, like to where the police are coming down to the school every week. Then after that didn't get anywhere for some time, and the parents are still just like, I'm so sad, I'm pleading, because now it's like affecting all of these kids, right? Because then when they blamed it on this one other kid that it wasn't, right? The other friend that I told you about a few seconds ago, then she starts to get bullied. Then they blamed it on the cousin, she starts to get bullied. Then the boyfriend and the girlfriend that this whole thing is surrounded by, they broke up. The boy, after some time, meets up with another girl in a whole another town, and then that girl's mama from the other town, mama, started to get messages too. And it's like, wow, you're really affecting a lot of people. Like, so who's taking all of this time? Like, who is this board? Bruh, I was like, who's this board? Right? And even at 4404, at the beginning of this video, or at the beginning of the video, or the watching the movie, they were talking about just like the characters of females versus the characters of males. And that was something that also came up in the conversation with the parent I had today. And how just like, you know, just as females were more natural multitaskers, and guys are just like, you know, can be very linear in thought and a little dazed and confused. I love y'all, men, okay, out there. Don't get it twisted. I love y'all. We just from different planets, and that's okay. That's okay. um, It's okay. We've learned to roll with each other, and if we haven't, we are. And so even in the show, the teen was just like, yeah, like we figured it had to be from like girl or girl group or something like that because like guys don't care about stuff like that, you know. And they was keeping up with like the drama, like guys don't care about that. And I was like, that's totally true. He was like, we just care about sports and probably girls, but nobody's checking. Anyways, um, so it just made me think about like, and oh, it was funny because they were trying to, not trying to, but they were setting it up like, then it became all the girls, in the class that didn't know about it or trying to figure out like who did it, like who investigators, right? One, we got to know it. We got to know the information. Two, we got to investigate. Three, we got to be part of the mix some sort of way, somehow. You know what I mean? Which I think is kind of funny. It's very feminine. It's not necessarily the best, but it's hilarious. Um, but why did I bring that part up? I don't know. Just that it just affected so many people. So the fact that it did affect this many people, it wasn't just like going to this one person. So it wasn't like pinpointed. Like it was just like you're really doing too much. Like who has this much time on their hands? You know what I mean? And like I don't know, no masculine that's really about to be doing that unless they're like really feminine in that way. You know what I mean? Like you know, and that's not even like the best caliber of a female. So anywho, lo and behold, like, mind you, if you made it this far in here and you think that you want to watch this show and you don't want to know the ending of who did it, you got to stop the video here. This video here, because I'm about to tell you who did it. Okay? Countdown. I'm about to tell you who did it. I'm just trying to check my notes so I can go into the rest of this pretty clear. Yeah, that's the next stage of this game is getting into I know this was gonna be a long one. I already knew. I said when I got this download, I said, let me be prepared. I'm about to sit here for a second. I'm about to sit here for a second. We got a minute. So y'all ready? I'm about to tell you who did it. Fast forward. Fast forward. So the FBI gets involved, right? Because when the local police or whatever couldn't figure it out for so many months, he reached out to the FBI. The FBI did some search. They over here tracking IP addresses, contacting Verizon, all this other stuff, going through thousands of messages. They said 700, and then they said like 1,000 and some messages at a certain point. They said, guess whose name came up? Yes. You guessed it. The mama. Okay? The mama. The girl's mama? That's hella crazy to me. And mind you, in the beginning, the girl's mom and the guy's mom met up to talk about, like, hey, like, how do we solve this, whatever. And mind you, that's why I knew that mama had did it low key in the beginning. Because the boy's mama, that boy's mama, she a looker. I said, oh, you cute. Oh, she a cutie. Your mama baddie. Ooh. And your daddy had that little jock swag to him. You know, he wasn't like my type, but he had that jock swag to him. I could see how he pulled her. You know what I mean? So I said, no fucking wonder. And then, of course, you love that shit. You love meeting with the other parent and being like, I don't know what's going on. I have to. Mind you, these messages are crazy. This whole time, this mom is messaging her own daughter, like, X yourself. Nobody likes you. You have no friends. Nobody wants you here. Like all of this like things that I would even think about, girl. I couldn't even. I said, look, I'm not even gonna be able to recall this for the video. Let me tell y'all the truth. I'm not even gonna be able to recall this for this video because I don't speak like that. Like I don't even like that shit. Was crazy. Mind you, she's saying all this stuff she's gonna do with the boy. Oh, I'm like his finger, my mouth, or hit like, girl, I'm gonna give him a BJ better than you could give him a BJ. Like, what in the name of God is going on? Oh my God. And then something that was just so apparent throughout the whole thing is that mental illness is real. Mental illness is real, and not just in America, but mental illness is real. Is real. Mind you, what makes this extra, all of it is crazy. Mind you, whatever I just told you, that shit was already crazy, right? Mind you, this mom that's doing this, she's been the coach to like the softball team for like years and years. So she's not just with her own kid, she's with dozens of children. And like sometimes when I have to do, matter of fact, I got to do my safe sport thing tonight, but doing these like safe sports, like, so being a coach, you have to do these like safe sport like seminars and, you know, trainings and stuff like that, which I don't mind because like I'm about that life. Like, let's keep these babies safe. You know, like what, you know? And sometimes to me, because I'm so like, it's so obvious that we're trying to keep them safe, and that I come from such a pure place that I know that there are some people bad out there, but like you either think that they're like good or really bad. You know what I mean? But like, mind you, and this mom, of course, I would start to put her in that really bad, but it's not like, well, no, she did affect a lot of different children, you know, like like not only did it seem like the girl and the boy had like such this good relationship, and they look, you know, to me they look good together. It looked like they probably really could have probably could have had that, you know, lifelong whatever together. But like they stopped being together. Okay, that's one thing, whatever. You can call it child love, young love, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then like her daughter stopped playing sports, but she was really talented at her sports, like getting all these medals and whatnot. So now you didn't took her out of like something that she was really good at in that capacity too. And on top of that, you are as messed up as you are. and because fundamentally children always want their parents no matter what. Even knowing that her mom did that to her and affected her so traumatically, she still wants to have a relationship with her mom. I could tell that she's trying hard to rationalize all of it. Um, and she's really shoving a lot of stuff under some rugs. Um, but that's because, you know, also too, they were saying, if you keep a relationship with a person that's already like been manipulating you anyways, you're still being manipulated, you know? Um, so it's unfortunate that is probably a big portion of her story. Um, so I really pray for that child and that family, and even like the husband, because when he found out, you could see like they had this video like of the whatever. Um, they had the video of him like learning these things and learning the facts that it was his wife that was doing it, and she lied about her having a job for, she had been laid off of 2 jobs or whatever, and I don't know. You could just see the heart like all over him. A heartbroken man, like that is just so sad. And we can always talk about like, you know, being, hurt or scorned or whatever in certain ways. But some of these like heartbroken men, like those ones like that hurts. That hurts. That hurts to see. It really, 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 it really hurts to see. So, mental illness is a thing. And like, and the only way that I can like really make light of this conversation is to kind of bring up the Pretty People Club again, right? Or the Pretty People Support Group. And and I say that too, in regards to one, the girl that was affected, because she is still pretty, still gorgeous, and hopefully will always continue to be and share her light. Um, but she may move differently in the world. I don't know what that's going to look like when she gets 20 years old, especially if she goes through experiences that may attract familiarity to her. I rebuke. Um, at a certain point in her life, she may come off as jaded or bitchy or whatever, right? And like, it's so easy for people to be like, oh, she's pretty, like, oh, look at her, she's stuck up, or oh, she has an attitude, right? We see it all the time on TV. I see people have reactions to other pretty people like that all the time. And it's usually coming from people who weren't really a part of the PPC, or who could have been a part of the PPC but didn't like realize that themselves. So they started to move hella crazy. This is why this episode is called Heal Yourself. Heal Thyself. No, it says come into your own power. That's not called Heal Thyself, but that's what it was supposed to be called, the subtitle. But come into your own power, because if you come into your own power, you don't have to worry about other people. You don't have to worry about other people having their power. When you come into your own, you don't give a shit. You're actually more congratulatory than anything else. You're more of a cheerleader than anything else. You're like, oh, you in your power. Let's go. Let's go. Be a power team. Just like people want to be a power couple. That's so interesting to me. That's a whole nother topic. Oh, we're going to have to do a video on that. So many people are into wanting to be a power couple, yet don't want to come into their own power, or worse, try and knock somebody else's. Lord of Jesus. Oh, we healing some jealousy shit. We're healing some jealousy shit this year, obviously, because that's just the energy that keeps coming up. We're healing that. We're healing that. We're letting that shit go. Like, we're letting that shit go. We don't need that. That's not here for us. Ain't doing nothing. Girl, let these people go. Girl, let those energies go. Wait, what did I say these were? Them hoes over there? Them thoughts? Let them thoughts go. Okay? Let them thoughts go. Come into your power, bro. And so here's the thing that I thought was crazy. Like, thinking into because then they start to give you this background about this lady, to give you not a sympathy story, but just to give you perspective. into how she could have become this person, right? Because like, why is she even on this interview? Why is she even giving us her full ass perspective like this? Like, why did you make me think that you was on the team of your daughter and you ain't? But shit, what I was gonna say, I lost my train of thought. Coming into your power, knowing yourself, mental illness, coming into your own power. No, that she had other things going for her. So of course she was like the coach or whatever. But to me too, I was like I said before, people who necessarily weren't like super born into the PPC, they could, come in later to the team. It seemed like she wanted that, but like her cousin was interviewed later and was saying like, oh, like you see how I'm sitting here talking to you right now, like, and they called her the life of the party, but it also seemed like she needed to have the attention as kind of the energy that they were putting behind it. And so she was like, you see how I'm sitting here talking to you right now? She would be dancing over there in the corner to try and get your attention. Right? Which to me is continuous, like unsolved attention seeking issues. Do you know what I mean? Bruh, when it goes into their adulthood, anyways, so many conversations that I want to have, and I just feel like it can sound judgy, and I'm trying not to be that. I'm trying really just to like give the messages I'm here for and leave myself out of it a little bit. But yeah, it was just like, and the lady had talked about that she had, had some abuse that happened to her at a certain age and whatnot. And, somebody asked, when you were sending the messages to their daughter, were you really like sending them to yourself? She was like, yeah, that could be. But like when I was watching the interviews and stuff, and this is just my opinion, I could be completely wrong about this, but when I was watching the interviews or listening to her testimony and all that stuff, and she was like, saying that she was like, it's unsolved trauma, and I'm understanding now that that's what it was, and I really wasn't myself. It sounded like BS. It sounded like BS. It sounded like BS. Because it's not just trauma. That's when it becomes, because I think that there's also a difference between like experiencing trauma and having mental illness. And that was like for really a mental illness, because to keep this up for months, like you're not having one moment of a rational thought. Like these kids were getting 5 to 6 messages daily, 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 daily. So you're telling me in a whole month of losing your mind, you didn't have like 3 days of rational, maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe this isn't smart, maybe I should stop this, maybe I should give myself up, maybe I should tell somebody I need some help? What was so sad about watching this video as a psychologist was that you can obviously see that this lady still needs a lot of help. And there's a huge portion of me that is also, there's a part of me that is assuming that she's not getting it. And we just let these people go off in the world. We create a documentary about them. We want to get their story so we can make a couple of bucks here and there. But then we don't actually give a fuck about the people. And so now this lady is just going to be like, she did her prison time or whatever. But now she's just out there and like, obviously she's still rationalizing some of this as normal. because even while she was in jail, she continued to message her daughter, but just not in that way. She just did it in a reverse way. I love you. I miss you. You're the best. You're the light of my life. What? Toxic. It's still toxic. It's still toxic. It's still toxic. And the thing, it was such, this episode was just so, this is why I had to get on here, because I needed to process this out loud because it was just so hard to watch. This lady, as they were like, the FBI had come over to like be like, hey, we need to talk. Hey, we found out it's you. Hey, it's only you and your daughter in the house. Well, let me call your husband. Your husband's on the way. But they're like trying to break it to the daughter that, hey, it's been your mom this whole fucking time. And like, mind you, the mom goes and like, first she's like hugging the daughter, like coddling her, like petting her, hugging her. And I said, like, what the fuck, bro? She's just like, and they were like, we need to separate you from her. And she's like, I don't want to leave her. Nigga, what? You just text this girl, go and kill yourself. And you're not gonna give your dude a blowjob. I'm gonna give a blow. I'm sorry, what? You have got to be out of your fucking mind. Oh Lordy God, Jesus Christ, help us all, okay, and help them specifically, Lord. Mind you, this is doing a mental fuckery on all of these other kids. So this is a grown ass woman with mental illness that's now spread her venom and her poison into these other people. And thank God it's not deadly. But it may leave lasting scars. You know, one of the girls, the first girl who got like blamed for it or whatever, because she got blamed on it, because, you know, kids be kidding, you know what I mean? And not in the best way, like blaming her, the school blaming her. She didn't have the best year. She didn't get to experience high school the way that she wanted to. She also didn't like end up playing the sports that she wanted to at a certain point. So this is affecting everything, like the trajectory of her entire life. Okay? The trajectory of her entire life. Then you're feeding suicidal ideation into your own child. How terrible is that? How do you work through that? How do you work through that? As the daughter, how do you work through that? My mom, they said that at the end. My mom told me to go. And for anybody who's experienced that in their, you know, dynamic with their parents, and I'm sorry that you had to experience that. I'm really sorry. And, you know, God bless you. And I hope that you just have become stronger and know that you are covered and cared for by the Most High, and always, and always, always. Yeah, what I wrote down was like, and bullying and people being bullied. Like, so now you're creating this crazy chain of bullying. These parents are losing their jobs, losing their works, losing their houses because they're distracted, fighting, losing their marriages, essentially. What? But leaving a trail of broken people. And I don't want to call them broken necessarily because I don't, but leaving a trail of people you've harmed. You're leaving a trail of people you've harmed that have been now who've been harmed just because of you. It's crazy, crazy work. So you gotta do the work. You gotta do the work to heal yourself. You gotta do the work to come into your own power. Because what happens is, even if it's on a minor scale of some of this shit, you're still, and even if you're not working with kids, this is the disclaimer I really wanted to put out there. Like maybe you're like, I don't have kids, I don't work with kids, I don't really even want to be around kids. If you do anything where you're working with people, let me tell you, you're working with their inner child just as much as they're working with you and yours. Did you hear me? If you're working with any other humans, any other people, and maybe, we can talk alien if we need to, but you're working with any other bodies, you're working with the inner child of them, the inner children of them, and they are also working with yours. And once you come into perspective of that, one, it gives you a space of more compassion, more gentleness. Okay? You don't need to coddle somebody to be gentle. You don't need to be passive in order to like get a message across. You don't have to be aggressive either. But being direct is good. If any of this is resonating with you, if you've seen it in yourself, if you've seen it in people, if you've seen it in dynamics, if you may see it in like dynamics between your parents and their parents, even, you know, or their spouses, and that you feel like you may have picked up some of it, and not in a way that you feel like you're super manifesting it, but maybe you know that it's just changed your mind in a way, or shifted the way that you think some ways, and you want to kind of cleanse that, kind of cleanse that energy and come into a better balance. um, I would highly suggest to reach out for Reiki. That you can hit me up for. That you can hit me up for. Reiki, I got you. Okay. Because one thing that I really like about Reiki is Reiki can do healing for the things that you may not even be able to put words to yet. That's what I love about Reiki. Because in a lot of talk therapy, one, it's like you have to lead people into the words to be able to describe their stuff. And sometimes that walk takes a really long time. And not to say that, Reiki doesn't take time. I just think it kind of has a fast track effect, to be honest with you. Because when the patient, um, parent, or person that you're working with, the client that you're working with, is ready to heal and coming to a space of healing, and then you as a healer are ready to also heal and to provide a space of healing, then it becomes this crazy, crazy, super, super cool magnitude way of getting healing work done without coming into the world of a language barrier. A lot of times they say that like God, like we don't actually know God's name. You know, um, and like we can't ever really truly say or speak or utter the true name of God. And to me, I kind of feel like Reiki moves like that. It does like healing that we can't always put everything to, you know. Um, so I'm sending Reiki to everybody. Everybody watching this video, you're definitely getting a dose of Reiki. Let me just make sure. Let me just make sure real quick. So, and so it is. Um, so what are the last things that I wanted to put on there? I don't know, something small is that the not small, but the girl, she wants to study criminology. I think that's really good for her. I think that I pray that she also finds healing and healing work and healing channels in that work, to where she is able to help other people heal aspects of themselves because of the work that she's doing, you know, because I'm sure her walk of life is going to give her a unique perspective, and maybe even a unique drive into who she specifically is focusing on helping and healing in the world. And, you know, thank God for the healers. Thank God for God helping the healers. Um, I think I have a general layup question. And this is just like, because I wrote down temporary insanity. And I was like, this is why people are able to like plead temporary insanity, because she was just like, oh, like I just was like in that time frame, I just don't know what I was thinking. But at the same time, I'm like, where does temporary insanity begin and end? Like, is there a time frame on it? Like, that's something I got to do some research on. Is there a time frame on it? Like, and then what are they being given? Like, restorative justice is really like work that we need to do in the world too. And if you're somebody who's about that life, drop your information. That's so dope. Let's boost you out there. Restorative justice is a real thing. Um, but like, how long does temporary, like, and then what are the like, okay, so if somebody pleads temporary insanity and or they get like approved to use that as a viable excuse of whatever they did, like, do they get granted or like offered offered any help, um or is there any like mandated help in some sort? I wouldn't say locked up, but is there like some mandated help of like you need to go to therapy for so many years? Like, don't they have like, what do they call that? Alcohol's Anonymous, but they have the anger one? Like, you have to do so many like anger management. There you go, anger management classes. Thank you, God. Like, do they have that for people who are temporarily insane? Like, what do they call that? Like, you have to go to therapy, talk therapy, cognitive therapy, behavioral therapy for so many months. Like, what's the deal? I think that's something that we all need to figure out. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know if I want to go deeper into the healing your inner child and your inner children. I think you guys get the point in that, or at least what I need to relay to you guys today. And the reason why I say child and children is that, one, yes, you can say child, right? Because we all have our inner child, but I say children because sometimes there's things that you learn as you were a child as a whole. Like, so you can think about, oh, money management. I'm trying to heal my relationship with money, and I learned a lot when I was a child. Like, you can use that as a big thing. But I also think because we have, or people have gone through different traumas or trials and tribulations in different instances, I say children because the person that I was at one age before one trauma is not the child that I was, you know 2 years later after experiencing this trauma, but I was still a child. So, but those were two different children in an aspect. So I use the word healing your inner child and healing your inner children, um, simultaneously. Or what do you call that? I can't think of the other words. My brain says in conjunction, but that's not what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna keep it pushing. Um, I think the thing that I just wanted to end off this message was, it's just very interesting. Also, no, real quick before I get into that, they said cyber Munchausen's. And I had never heard of that as a thing, but I'm like, oh, I guess that's a thing now. Cyber Munchausen's? I don't know. Maybe you guys look into it. I don't even feel like I can even go any deeper after that. I feel like I need to do some deep research, and I don't even know if I want to. The psychologist and cat in me wants to, but I'm like, oh girl, God, I don't know yet. Um, but no, yeah, what I wanted to end on pretty much was, it's just interesting to me how much people can still want their parents no matter what. And this wasn't the only instance that I've been privy to of people who have been, hurt a lot, by their parents, who've been abandoned by them, and like, and no matter what, they're still like that. There's something inside. There's still something inside that wants to know our parents because that's the only two we have. Like in reality, it's the only two we have. Like some people can have been raised by their grandparents or their aunts and all that stuff. So yeah, maybe we do have more parents than that. And yes, it does take a village to raise a child. All of that is true. All of that is true. But when it comes down to the fact that it is this masculine and this feminine who put their genetic sperm together to produce me, I have to know who the other person is. I have to know both sides because, or want to. There's always going to be that internal longing, but I just felt so. And I don't want to say because I don't believe in the statement like I just felt so bad for them. I felt so bad for them. No, first of all, I don't want to feel bad. That doesn't feel good. To feel good is to feel God. I don't feel bad for them. I just feel I'm just sending them a lot of prayers, and that makes me feel better. I'm sending these people so many love, loving prayers and healing prayers because bless this girl's heart. Bless this girl's heart. She just wants, to live her life. And now she's forever, forever, forever affected by her mom. And she always is going to want her mom. But, like, even, and that's that another thing that I haven't thought about, but it's like came up this week too. Was watching this clip of this video of this comedian, this Asian comedian. I don't know her name, so sorry. But she's like she can have like not dry humor, but she can just say it so matter of factly that people don't know that she's like making a joke or not. And she talks about the fact that she grew up with a schizophrenic mom. And if you know who this lady is, please drop her name in the comments. Shout out to her. She is a great comedian. I don't know too much of her work, but what I do know of her work is great. But just know that like she was just like my mom. She was like, grew up with my mom. She's schizophrenic. And then there was a moment where I feel like, sometimes people can put temporary things on people. And she was like, and she still is, you know what I mean? Like, and she still is, it's not a forever thing. No, she's like, it's a forever thing. She's like, it is a forever thing. So she's like, she still is. We still have to deal with it. It's still my life, and this is, part of who I am, And so, one, I hope this girl is able to make light of it and is able to like move in a way that she, you know, feels free in life, you know. Um, so I don't know. I mean, I really don't have all the words to be honest with you guys today. I really just wanted to talk this video out for myself and like, send everybody healing prayers, sending myself healing prayers. Um, because even though I didn't go through things like this, like being abandoned still made me feel some type of way, you know? Um, and not by my mom, but thank God. But then also too, here's the thing: we can have people in our lives. You can say you can be raised by your mom and your dad, and still feel like you've been abandoned by them. Did y'all know that? Because People will swear up and down. I swear, people will swear up and down. I've never felt that way before in my life. And then, wait a couple of years, let some time pass, let a hiccup come in the road, and they're like, actually, at this point in my life, I really felt abandoned by my parent. And you're like, I'm sorry that you felt that way. But people feel like they're allergic to things. And I would love to be allergic to a couple more things like that, things that are like not the best. I would love to be allergic to abandonment. Okay, leave me be. um, but yeah, hear yourself, bro. Do the inner work. If you feel like you come up with like some jealousy issues or whatever, heal yourself. If you feel like you're just like unhappy with your life in any way, like don't look for it being about somebody else. Is really the message. It's not anybody else's issue. It's not really anybody else's fault. And it's not. I don't want to say that like that because that sounds rude. It's not really anybody else's problem. But I say that to mean like your jealousy is not anybody else's problem. You know, that's really just a you thing. But the one thing about being a part of the Pretty People Club, and being a part of the Pretty People support group that we're gonna start, is that we have each other, and is that we're not alone, and that you shouldn't take it personally because it's really not about us. So haters will hate. And like I said, they always just confuse fans anyways. Um, so yeah, do your work. That's it, girl. That's it. That's all. I love y'all. Good night. Be great. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. I'll be back. I'll be back.